Here's a very interesting question to test your customer service skills. You work as a retail associate at the New Wave store, which is part of a large global chain. Customer browsed the selection of clothing items and looks very frustrated and dissatisfied. She approaches you, and after you check on the computer, you can't find the item she is looking for inside the store. What would you do next? And you're presented with 4 choices, and you need to select all that apply. Choice A. Offer to place an order at New Wave online website. Choice B. Apologize that item is unavailable and suggest to try Amazon.com or another retailer. Choice C. Mention to the customer that there were supply chain shortages everywhere now. And then last but not least, choice D. Call to the store manager to discuss the situation with frustrated customer. Interesting question, don't you think? Take a close look to see if you need to pause this video to come up with the solution. Are you ready? On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please educate us and share your solution in comments. I believe this question is designed to validate your ability to handle a conflict and turn things around. The key of successfully resolving the conflict is ability to collaborate with the customer and focus on the solution. Main objective of the interaction is to listen to the customer, understand what customer is trying to do, and try to be genuinely helpful. There are 3 best practices. Number 1, always project how can I help you attitude. Number 2, take responsibilities for the issues. And number 3, avoid arguing and escalations. I believe there are 3 essential traits this question is looking for in a candidate. Focus on the solution, project helpful attitude, and avoid escalations. There are also red flags that question is trying to pinpoint. Number 1, lack of responsibility, and number 2, searching for excuses. Considering this, choices D and C are the least recommended choices to answer. Let's look at choice D. Call to the store manager to discuss the situation with frustrating customer. This is the worst one to select trying to resolve the situation because it takes away time from the manager and shows your inability to handle a conflict and resolve the situation. I also suggest that you do not select choice C. Mention to the customer that there are supply chain shortages everywhere else now. Your role as retail associate is not to focus on excuses, but find the solution to the customer. Based on this, I believe that the best choices here are choices A and B. Choice A, offer to place an order at New Wave online website. And choice B, apologize that book is unavailable and suggest to try Amazon.com or another retailer. It is the key to make customer feel happy and appreciated by focusing on the solution and trying to be sincerely helpful. By offering these 2 choices, you show that you do not just trying to make a profit, but also able to offer outside solutions, for example, using Amazon.com retailer. In addition, ability to resolve conflict yourself and keeping customer happy without escalations to the manager is also extremely helpful skill. Do you have a better solution? Please make sure to post your ideas in comments so we can all learn. Can you tell us how many questions did you answer correctly? Please make sure to post in the comment section of this video to share with others. And now let's continue to get you ready for the test. Here's the very interesting question to determine your personality. You just arrived at the corporate event. You do not see anyone you know there. What would you do? You need to select all that apply out of the 4 different choices. Choice A, observe others. Wait for people you know to arrive. Choice B, approach people you don't know and introduce yourself. Choice C, temporarily leave the event and come back later. Choice D, check your itinerary to ensure you're at the right place. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the right answer. So you can always pause this video to determine the answer that you would want to choose. Are you ready? I am moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to answer and have different recommendations, feel free to share in comments. I believe that in this question, you are being tested on whether you're a good team player. Work environments are very collaborative, and companies are looking to hire people that work well with others. There are no easy ways to determine if a candidate is a good team player. For example, recruiters do not screen for quality candidates, but mostly focus on technical skills, and try to submit as many candidates as possible to increase their chances. More than 50% of resumes contain lies. Non-team players hype their resumes to look like A players. Questions on behavioral interview are not very revealing. References checks are generally worthless. This is why companies ask questions on the test that might help them to determine the right candidate. During the assessment tests, companies look for essential traits for the team players. They typically look if the candidate is social, if candidate adapts easily to difficult situations, if candidate tackles challenges with enthusiasm, and whether potential employee is a creative problem solver. They also look for the red flags, and typically red flags are that the candidate likes working solo, doesn't take initiative, and maintains a status quo. Obviously, with these types of questions, there is no right or wrong answer, but there is a least recommended answer which you can spot based on the red flags. Because red flags are that the candidate doesn't take initiative, afraid of unfamiliar situations, and passively maintains status quo, the choices to avoid might be choice A, observe others and wait for people you know to arrive, or choice C, temporarily leave the event and then come back later. Based on what we know, organizations are looking to hire people that are team players, that can introduce themselves and feel comfortable and confident in unfamiliar settings. One thing to keep in mind is that you always want to be honest and answer how you would behave. But you also need to understand that your behavior is unpredictable until you're actually in this particular situation. Are you sure you will never behave as the best version of yourself? Can you become intentional and be courageous even if you feel uncomfortable about the situation? Keep in mind that you can also change yourself and behave as a team player. Considering that team player traits are being social, being easily adaptable, and being creative problem solver, the most recommended answer here is choice B. Approach people you don't know and introduce yourself. Do you have a better version on how to answer this question? Please make sure to share in comments. Here's an interesting question you frequently see on the test. Manager called you into her office and shared with you the complaint she received about you browsing non-business related sites in the workplace. You did use company's equipment to download some materials from the internet recently. What will you do next? And you need to select all that apply in order. Choice A. I would ask manager to provide evidence and learn more about who filed the complaint. Choice B. I will explain what I did and what I was looking for. Choice C. I would apologize. Choice D. I would take responsibility for my actions. Take a close look, maybe pause this video for 10 to 15 seconds to see if you can come up with the solution. Ready or not, I am moving forward to share with you my version, and obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. What's interesting about this question is that this particular one doesn't have a single obvious answer. There are multiple complex aspects that are tested in this question. And even though there is no obvious answer to this challenge, the solution might be guided based on the listed considerations. Let's look at each one of them. The first one is that organizations monitor computer use and corporate network activities. Companies have full legal right to monitor email as well as the sites employees go to. Companies discourage personal use of the computers by employees for many different reasons. And there are special policies on accessing inappropriate content using companies' equipment. The tricky part of this question is that this particular one tests candidates' knowledge and understanding of these policies, and more importantly, how candidate would behave under the circumstances. Let's look at the personal use of the business equipment first. Companies typically provide computers for use to their employees, but there are a lot of challenges with personal use of the business equipment. There are also consequences for using it to conduct inappropriate business activities. So, what are the typical personal uses of companies' computers? We can list 5 main categories: make online purchases, send personal email, playing games on company's computer, downloading non-work related materials, and downloading and installing non-work-related software. There are typically special policies for inappropriate content on business computers. Inappropriate or unauthorized content can be grouped into 5 main categories. Number 1, content promoting hate based on race, religion, disability, sexual preference, and etc. Content promoting violent extremism, sexually explicit content, real or simulated violence, as well as, last but not least, pirated software, which is the software you don't have legal license for. This question is very challenging because there's no one certain answer, but there are some important considerations if you look at the question definition. Number 1, there is certainly a possibility for mistake and misunderstanding here, but if manager called employee for a discussion, there was probably enough evidence of wrongdoing that has been collected. Number 2, since organizations own the equipment and network access, company has full legal right to monitor the employee. Understanding policies before accessing content should guide employee decisions. And last but not least is that inappropriate access can be detected by computer monitoring tools as well as reported by coworker. I believe in this particular question, candidate is tested on 4 essential traits: honesty, trustworthiness, professional behavior, and in compliance with company policies. This question only implies that employee downloaded content and doesn't indicate if the content was appropriate or not. It only shows non-business related sites in the workplace, which does not necessarily indicate an inappropriate content. Another important consideration is that there is always a possibility for a mistake and misunderstanding, like with everything in life. Role of an employee here is to provide facts and support the investigation. And the best strategy is to know the policies before using company's equipment and to follow those policies. Based on the listed answers, there are certain red flags that employee is tested for. Number 1, employee becoming defensive. Number 2, attempts to hide what happened. And number 3, attempts for revenge with someone who reported the employee. Based on these red flags, I think the least recommended answer is choice A. I would ask manager to provide evidence and learn more about who filed the complaint. And here is my recommendation for the most recommended answer. I believe that the goal here in this question to demonstrate leadership and take responsibility for your actions. And this is true not just in question, but in life as well. If you did something unknowingly, not knowing if it is prohibited by the policy, it is always a good idea to apologize. So my recommended answers in order are choice D, I would take responsibility for my actions. Choice B, explained what I did and what I was looking for. And then last but not least, choice C, I would apologize. Do you have a better solution for this question? Please make sure to post your answers as well as thought process in comments. Thanks for watching. If you liked the content, please give us a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for all your endorsement, support, and patronage. For additional helpful information, please make sure to check out links in the description. For detailed list of available resources, I encourage you to check out resources page on our website, howtoanalyzedata.net/resources. If you know someone who would benefit from this content, please consider sharing the link. Please leave the feedback, corrections, or suggestions in comments. And all the best on your journey. I'll see you in my next video.